Have you considered talking about the 32X games?
No.
Hi, my name is Nosurname, and something I've dealt with a lot are hate comments. They do not bother me.
People who leave these are unoriginal with their words and do nothing but waste their time leaving drivel on a screen until it ultimately gets deleted, being forgotten to the sands of time, ultimately accomplishing literally nothing. I'll lose those. They'll come back later.
The most that comes from the comments like this or this are a funny post on Blue Sky where I make fun of the person after already having deleted their attempt at upsetting me without ever having read it. With that being said, there are 2 comments that have been left that have gotten under my skin. The first is this one, left in my video, I detransitioned by taking tips from YouTube alpha males. I paid $200 for that mic that I was using at the time, but I have transitioned to a better one, so fuck you. The other one was not left on my own channel, but rather my friend and fellow YouTuber Rennie Ultrafox's channel. Ugh. This video is specifically called Video Game Characters You Were Gaslit Into Hating. It was one that Rennie and I worked on for a good while, and we were pretty proud of it too. It's a genuinely fun watch, and a lot of work went into it courtesy of Rennie's masterful editing skills.
The idea for this video in the first place.
Keeping it to older games.
So I'm happy that she let me collaborate on it. Go subscribe to her, by the way. She's one of my best friends, and it would mean the world to me if you could support her. There were a few comments left in this video that were hating me. That's whatever. Lazy, uneventful, boring, blah, blah, blah. But one got to me. This one. I've censored the username of the idiot who left this comment because I don't condone harassment, and the amount of people who would call this particular person uneducated is much larger in scale than the wrath that I feel I deserve to unleash for being lied about in a YouTube comment. It is nearing 2 years now since this comment was made, and it's sat with me for quite some time now. Allow me to read it. Remember, this was directed at Rennie Ultrafox, not me. I loved your Super Ghostbusters video, but collaborating with Melody ain't it, Chief. She had some problematic opinions on some LGBT people who weren't, quote, LGBT correctly. I will not be returning, unfortunately. Trans people shouldn't be bullied by their own community. Edit. Skimming through the comments makes this video seem like it's going to be somewhat problematic, too. Ugh. So I'm glad that I have a reason that's not just collaborating with bad person bad, because I feel somewhat bad if that's the only reason, even if it's justified. First of all, this is treating the video as if it were made by 2 YouTubers, not 2 people who are really good real-life friends. I was at a half-price books with her just yesterday. I have spent some time off and on trying to decipher what is being said about me. What is the origin of me saying someone wasn't, quote, LGBT correctly, end quote. I've looked through my own videos, I've skimmed through streams, I've looked through Blue Sky and Twitter posts and found nothing. Hell, I've even tried to think if I felt that way and nothing was coming up. I don't hold feelings that someone could be queer and simultaneously be so incorrectly. I have never felt that way, and I've never expressed that I've felt that way, at least as far as I could find. Maybe I said something that was misinterpreted, misunderstood, or misheard, or maybe it was a joke, or maybe it was so long ago I don't even believe it anymore. Maybe I was like 16 and this stranger somehow knew me? Gross. I don't like when I was a kid. That's nasty. I don't know. I'm confused, and I hate this person for making me think about how wrong they are for almost 2 years. Regardless, they have no evidence and have never provided any. From all accounts, they have just blatantly lied about me. Who would even do that? Just lie on the internet for no reason. From the ashes of this absolute stupidity that has fogged my mind on occasion for almost 2 years now can arise a phoenix. A golden opportunity for me to make a statement about how I feel about this kind of bullshit and maybe help some of the trans folks in my audience have a new perspective about their own self. Or maybe this will just be a way for me to complain about a single comment that annoyed me more than any ever comment has ever. Who knows? Play the intro so I can act like I'm consistent, please. Help! I've been locked away in a trading card, and the only way to release me is to buy me at the link on screen and at the top of the description and place me nicely on your desk or shelf. You have 30 days before I'm sold out, and then I'll die or something. All these cards are going to come hand-signed too, so get ready to deal with an ancient curse that I'm going to enchant it with. Big thanks to V91233312IL for the incredible art. She's the best. And on top of that, the people at Creo make some really nice, high-quality, good-looking stuff. Aside from my Ko-Fi and my merch shop, new stuff coming soon, by the way, this kind of campaign is the best way to support my work. Please consider buying a little me card. And now on to the topic at hand. What does a cisgender woman wear? Imagine it for me. Some of you may have thought about this outfit in this stock image here. Some of you may have thought of this stock image too. I bet even a fair portion of you imagined something like the outfit in this stock image as well. Now, a few of you watching are probably thinking about how I didn't show off an outfit that you were thinking of. Women can wear a lot of things. It's really hard to cover everything in 3 stock images. So now imagine what a trans woman wears. Did you imagine this outfit here? Probably. There's probably a few other outfits you imagined as well, but this is the stereotype of... There's a few other outfits that might show up in your mind as well, but this is the stereotypical trans outfit. Thank you. Trans girls who've only recently started figuring themselves out have this thing where a large portion of them get their outfits from sites like Amazon. This brand is called Amazon Basics. It makes sense to get your clothes online since you don't have to shop in person where you're still figuring things out. This is the Amazon Basics fit. I think it looks pretty good, to be honest. I don't think I'd be offended if I was drawn in the Amazon Basics fit. It's cute. It's affordable, shows some skin, but not too much. Ooh. And if you want to dress femininely, then this is the perfect start for feeling out the land and seeing if you're comfortable with it. Maybe you want to go more femme, or maybe you want to go more mask-leaning. This is a good place to begin. Now, some people who've been trans for longer, who we'll call older trans, like to mock who we'll call younger trans for buying and wearing this specific type of outfit. Why? Is it so bad if a person who's trying to figure themselves out gets an affordable outfit to test the waters of what feels comfortable on them? One of the things I hate to see is an older trans person being rude rather than just offering advice, making kind suggestions, or being nice in general to someone who's younger than them. Instead of being mean to someone who hasn't figured themselves out like you have, why not suggest a thrift shopping with friends so it's not awkward or something? Maybe suggest some better things to wear rather than pointlessly critiquing what they're already wearing. Suggest some stylization, some accessories, anything. Just don't be a dick. I've seen it every few months where the online discussion in the trans community shifts to being hateful towards those who haven't had as much time to figure themselves out as others, to the people who've had a phase in the early days who wore stuff like this. They for some reason feel the need to belittle those who just started out and are trying to, figure themselves out. It might be under the guise of protecting them to have cringe memories of what's perceived as a terrible outfit, but I doubt it. I think there's some superiority issues with people who were treated poorly their whole life, and this is how they get to experience being in charge of something. It's sad. People who treat others like this are no different than school bullies. Ignore my glasses. Thank you. If a trans woman wants to wear something that she might think later on is cringe, so be it. Let her. If a trans woman wants to feel her way around and is gonna wear something she might regret in 5 years, so be it. Unless it's blackface, it's probably not that bad. So let her. If she feels it was cringe later on in her transition, then she has those stories to tell and those memories to hold. All of this clothing shit is a learned experience. The attitude some trans people have with others only creates a divide that we don't need. Amazon Basics fits are fine.
2 different fonts. What's that? No. They're both UC.
When you weren't aware that you were trans yet, you were what's called an egg. Once you found out that you were trans, your egg cracked, and you became a trans person. I'll use myself as an example. I realized I wasn't in the right body when I was 6 years old simply because I didn't feel like I was on the outside who I was on the inside. It wasn't until I was 16, a whole decade later, that I found out that there was a word for it, and I got to educate myself on my own feelings. My egg cracked open 10 years after having its shell split just a little bit. When talking about eggs in a trans sense, you usually refer to yourself in the past tense. People who aren't trans are not eggs. The only way that you can be an egg is retroactively, upon it already being cracked, as being an egg implies that you will become trans if you aren't at that point in time, which is a little weird to do. If your theoretical egg isn't cracked, then you aren't an egg. If you find out that you're trans, then your egg exists and is already cracked. Simply, it cannot exist in the present time without already being cracked. It can only exist in the past tense once you have found out that you are trans. With this explanation and understanding out there for you all to fully grasp rather than argue in the comments or on Reddit, I want you to consider something. Is it okay to impose the egg ideology onto a cisgender person? Wouldn't it be weird to approach someone who is cisgender and tell them that they're an egg and that their egg is going to crack because you think something that they did or said feels like something a trans person would do? This is a very, very weird and very, very common thing that I've seen and heard a lot. It's between people simply playing a game or listening to an artist that they really like, or sometimes someone just outright says they want to be a girl.
I'm gay.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't feel exactly right to do. Fellow YouTuber and oomphy Salty DK Dan was getting called an egg a lot, and I think that they still do. Despite him being a he, they king, people were still just so insistent on them being trans, specifically a trans woman, and were posting in his replies about how his egg was surely gonna crack. It baffles me that this behavior is seen as normal to some. He once played Celeste. Imagine someone who isn't trans femme playing Celeste. Now, imagine how people got about it. It's this type of behavior that makes me think that maybe there is a wrong way to be LGBT if this is the way that you're gonna fucking act. Do we not see how inappropriate this is? How weird it might come across to assume someone who isn't you is trans? They could be comfortable with their gender identity already, like Salty DK Dan, and you're just making it really weird. Maybe they haven't figured out that they're trans yet, sure, but that's for them to figure out about themselves on their own time. Telling them that they're trans without them actually being out as trans is a bit bizarre and kind of gross. Hell, they could even be a closeted trans person and you're just making things real awkward and uncomfortable. Finding out one's gender identity can be a perpetual process. I, for example, keep finding new things out about my sexuality and gender identity regularly. I might be asexual. Whether it be casually or jokingly, you can be doing more harm than good in situations like this. Trans people are already being used as a scapegoat for a lot of society's current issues, since we're the new weird thing that an 80-year-old man has never heard of before. Telling someone that their egg is almost surely gonna crack feels very predatory, and the trans community is already under constant attack and harassment, being called child groomers and pedophiles with no evidence. The actions of the louder minority of trans people speak for the actions of the quieter of us who don't agree if we just freely let these kinds of things happen. There might not be a wrong way to be a member of the LGBT, but there sure as hell is a way to be a bit creepy about it. Please, don't call people eggs. How old are you? Statistically, you're most likely from the United States and are between the ages of 25 and 34. This message goes out to anyone of any age, of any demographic, who are in the closet and feel like they're too old. You're not. In fact, you'll never be too old to be you. It takes a long time for your life to clear up and for you to be able to feel safe to come out. But when you do, and when you feel safe and ready, there's a whole community to back you up. Hell, I could even help you right now with some tips and tricks that you could keep in mind to help remain positive. Number 1. You do not need to be dysphoric to be transgender. Many trans people feel dysphoria, which basically means that you feel like you aren't in the right body. Just because it's a huge part of the journey doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be dysphoric to be transgender. You could just feel like you want to be a man instead of a woman and have no dysphoric feelings about your feminine features. If you're one gender and want to be another, you can just do that. No one can police you about that. Just because a lot of us trans people feel that doesn't mean that you have to specifically. Number 2, you don't need to voice train to be transgender. First of all, shout out to all the trans women out there who dare to not voice train, whether it be due to a lack of time or not minding your voice currently, or just not being in a safe enough space to start. I know testosterone changes how your voice sounds, so trans men, this one's a little different for you. You also don't have to voice train to be a man, but should you choose to be on HRT, you literally don't have to voice train, as testosterone naturally deepens your voice, assuming you'd want that. Though a lot of my trans male friends mentioned that voice training is an option for you guys. That's a new fun fact I learned during the making of this video. Cool. Just like your own body, you should feel comfortable in your own voice. I, for one, have never voice trained because I quite like my nasally fag voice, and I get told I sound a lot like I have, even though I personally don't hear it. I love what I sound like, and I'd never change anything about this. I sound like a huge loser. It's cool as fuck! What matters is that you like what you sound like eventually. Number 3. You don't need to be on HRT to be transgender. If you feel like you are trans and it's a persisting feeling, you're probably trans. If you don't take HRT or have no plans to start HRT, this doesn't mean that you're not trans. Transmedicalism is a blemish on trans culture. The belief that you're not trans unless you start taking meds is gatekeepy, and disrespectful to those who might not be in a safe enough space to start. Or maybe they just aren't ready and they are still in the closet. Not everyone is blessed with some luck like others, and boiling being trans down to being on medication rather than the true internal feeling that you want to be something else, either through dysphoria or whatever, is blatantly wrong. Oh, but Melody Nosurname, what if I don't pass? I've got news for you, pal. Passing doesn't exist. It's made the fuck up. I, for example, am not aiming to look like a woman. I am aiming to look like me. Essentially, forming my skin around me to look like something that I'm comfortable in, what I want to be. If I lived every day worrying if I looked like a woman or not to some stranger I'd never see again, I'd be depressed. I don't want to look like a woman. I want to look like what I feel and what I feel happens to be a little bit feminine and a little bit of a fat bitch. I don't like the idea that someone doesn't pass or looks like the gender they were assigned at birth and therefore they aren't trans. It creates more sad people who have a twisted vision of what they should look like that is far gone from what they should be seeking, which is to be themselves. And hey, if being yourself is being that stereotypical man or woman, more power to you. Number 4, you don't need to get surgery to be transgender. That shit is expensive. And if you don't want to or can't get the surgery to change your genitals to be what you want them to be for any reason, that doesn't make you any less than the trans person who did get the surgery. I, for one, do not really like vaginas due to some personal reasons in my past that aren't really appropriate for a YouTube video. I'd feel more comfortable keeping what I've got down there simply because I'm used to it and I'd prefer to not deal with something new. My dick's small, by the way. Leave me alone. Number 5, you don't need to dress in any specific way. You are your own person. Want to wear a skirt and transition into a woman? Knock your socks off. Especially because trans girls love when you do that. Want to dress like Adam Sandler as a trans woman? Hell yeah, dude. Rock on. You can also do these things as a trans man. Who cares what you want to wear? Clothes do not have a gender. You as a human, trans or not, can dress masculinely or femininely, and it will not take away from your identity. Also, as a side note, a friend made here, don't go calling people eggs based on what they wear. Men can wear skirts and never be a woman. That's their decision, babe. By the way, speaking of HRT earlier, many people seem to think that the concept of DIY HRT is scary and dangerous, but if you do the bare minimum research to ensure you'll be safe at least, it's not really that bad. Motherfuckers are out here acting like you're doing heroin in the bathtub when in reality you're buying pills or liquids from someone overseas with Bitcoin or other decentralized currency and having them shipped to your house so that way you can save money and be anonymous with your transition. I did DIY for my first year or two, and all I had to do was inject some girly liquid that I bought from a nice Ukrainian lady into my thigh. But I had to stop that in early 2022 for obvious reasons. DIY HRT is super safe, and if you just look into what you need and make sure you're educated on it, you'll be fine. I've included some links in the description that'll kind of go about helping you in case you want to start. You'll notice a theme in this section of the video. Why not be you instead of being what a stranger thinks you should be? Do not base your happiness on the way that you are perceived by others. Rather, base it on if you look the way you want to look or feel the way you want to feel. Want to be a stereotypical blonde supermodel? Sick. Go for it. Want to be a beer-chugging, dip-lipping country boy? Fuck yeah, dude. You can be whatever you want with whatever labels and whatever identity you want. You could be a country boy as a girl or a bikini babe as a boy. Trans women don't owe you femininity. Trans men don't owe you masculinity. Non-binary people don't owe you androgyny. You as a trans person owe nothing to the outside viewers. You owe yourself the ability to be yourself someday, and yourself can be whatever you want with whatever labels you want. Do you remember that whole he, him, lesbian argument from a while ago? What's it matter if a trans masked person is a lesbian? Maybe he's not comfortable going fully masked, or maybe he's a he, him, but not masked. Realistically, what's it to you if someone has a label you don't think makes sense? People are always figuring themselves out, and if a trans dude wants to be called a lesbian rather than be called straight, how does that affect you? Surely this will affect the trout population. If a non-binary person wants to be the most gorgeous feminine person of all time, they can do it. If a trans girl wants to be a femboy, who cares? Your rude words do not help. Quite the opposite, actually. If he's a lesbian, let him be a lesbian. If they're the prettiest person of all time, let them be pretty as fuck. These labels mean something to them, and you don't matter in this situation. Their identity doesn't devalue your own. You can still be a cisgender lesbian. You can still be a straight man. Your own labels are yours to keep, and sharing them with someone who you don't agree with doesn't mean that they're tainting it. It simply means that there are more people finding themselves and are becoming more comfortable in their own skin. Like I said once before, gender is weird and statistically so are you. Gender is weird and statistically so are you. There's no perfect trans story. You're never gonna find a book in anything but fair condition. There is no such thing as passing. Please, please, just let people be people. Let people be themselves. Sam, they're gonna hate me on Reddit.
They're gonna hate me on Reddit.
A common thing for trans people is hating yourself. Not liking how you look, not liking who you are, wishing you were someone or something else. It's common because dysphoria is the way many find out that they're trans. It's pretty natural to not feel all too good about yourself. I sometimes feel in that boat on a bad day, and I imagine many people in my audience feel the same way every so often. If there's one good thing that I learned early on, it's to never trust anything you feel about yourself past 9 p.m. Besides, all you really need to know is that maybe you're not your own type. Don't beat yourself up over those feelings if you can manage not to. Remember that it's normal. You'll feel better in due time. Most people already know this and don't make it everybody's issues online, but what I can only describe as doomer trans folks seemingly make it their goal to harass the happy and unbothered trans people online. I don't want to find examples, but if I do, I'll put them on screen, with censored names of course. But in case I can't find any, it goes sorta like this. A trans person who is happy about themselves posts something, sometimes but not always related to how they feel good about their transition. Another trans person who isn't happy, usually through jealousy or envy, will quote tweet the post and say some bullshit about a stranger that they've never met. Simply, the success and happiness of someone else makes them upset, which isn't out of the ordinary. Sometimes I see a person who's super fly and I think, damn, I wish I was built like that, but then I remember I fuck with myself as is. But there's people out there who have a whole new set of terminology that they use in what is normally an echo chamber of people who feel the same way. They're some type of brick gigahan, and every other trans girl who passes is a passoid, femoid, whatever. Just one question. What the fuck are you talking about? Trans people want community. We, as people in general, want to find other people who are like us and can share stories and experiences, help lift others up. I've managed to make a community of nice trans people who are pretty good at this, for example. However, the wrong platforms can and have been used for this exact reason, and it leads to the poisoning of the minds of young trans people with bizarre opinions they wouldn't have if they had been talking to well-adjusted adults instead of basement-dwelling folks who need help. Thank you. It ruins people with words like gigahan, and then you start to believe whatever these made-up words are supposed to mean. There's even worse ones that I can't even say in a YouTube video. This shit is unhealthy. While some people find community safely and prosper, others find it on sites like Reddit, which is iffy, and places like and other... Places like this are filled with people implanting feelings in the minds of young trans folk. The people spitting the nonsensical prattle might not even be trans. With the way these sites are set up so everyone is anonymous, the people who say these things might as well just be transphobes in a trench coat preying on the vulnerable minds of those who need proper guidance and education, hoping to ruin their life. One less annoying tranny to worry about being happy with themselves online, right? If they're not transphobes, but rather actual trans people with their minds poisoned by depression and dysphoria, stuck in a rut they can't get out of, that just makes us even more sad to know. If you're out there on these sites learning to hate people who you think pass because you feel like you don't, please, for the love of God, just stop. You'll find yourself having a better mindset about yourself, others, and the world around you if you just stop associating with places like anyone who uses these types of sites needs an extra set of eyes on them, whether it be for, you know, or because they're just really depressed. Please don't beat down on other trans people because you feel like they're better at being trans or because you can't start your transition and you're jealous. It's okay to be upset, stressed, and all of that, but please don't make it someone else's problem. Get a therapist, talk to your friends, do your best to try to start your transition or prepare for it when you can. I promise that no matter the situation, you will someday be able to seek a life that you want regardless of your current circumstances or whatever that may be. Look into resources, look into assistance, look into ways to move out, but in the time being, stop using those words. No one knows what a gigahan is. So, to recap, please be understanding of newer trans folks who are trying to find themselves. Think that their clothing choices are atrocious? Mention some other places to get nice clothes. Recommend some accessories and compliment what you can rather than be rude about the fact that they're wearing basic bitch clothes. Think that they don't pass? Think that they're not trans because they're not on HRT? That's a you problem, and you need to change your mindset. Stop using these websites that are implanting those thoughts and feelings into your mind, and you'll find yourself to be a nicer person to be around. You won't be so damn negative all the time. Don't use the term egg on anyone who isn't trans. It's so weird to do. Perhaps instead you act like they're what they say they are, and if they suggest something to you, help them through without pushing anything. It's a delicate situation. You need to handle it as such. When going into this, I thought the idea of being LGBT incorrectly was kind of suggesting I was doing any other part of my identity wrong. However, maybe after all, there is a wrong way to be LGBT, and it's just being mean. It's being a mean and disrespectful person. Really, it's not the wrong way to be LGBT. It's the wrong way to be a supporting and kind member of any community, just with transgender points swapped in place of others. So yeah, you know what? Maybe this comment made by a complete fucking moron was right. I do feel like there is a way to be LGBT incorrectly, and I stand by it. I don't have a funny way to end this video. Have a good night. Where do they come from?